for. You know, sometimes you worry about what you're going to get coming back off of spring break. You know, we got the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and before spring break. You know, they took a week off. You know, a week away, but came back energized. You know, worried about the conditioning, come back after a week because you don't know what they did, what they're going to do. But they came back pretty good today. I was happy with really the way practice ended. Last Friday, did I talk to you guys after practice Friday or no?
Yeah.
We did? Okay. You know, again, it was the offense started fast and kind of petered out at the end, and the defense stole the end of the show. Today, I would say it was more balanced. I mean, talked about finishing on both sides of the ball. There was a lot of competition in the practice today down in the red zone, plus 19 and worked in there. So happy after day 4. Really, we've got 3 live periods in there. So about I guess probably 25 minutes of live periods today. Actually 24 minutes of live today, and saw some good stuff. Getting better at some of the details. The offense is moving along well from being new. And we did have an injury last Friday, Nate Temple, lower leg injury, and he'll be out for the year. It won't be one when he'll be back for fall camp. So that's kind of what we're dealing with right now, and it's part of the game. Feel bad for Nate and his family. They had a pretty good year last year. We're looking to have even a better year this year. So disappointed there. So questions?
Pat.
Just on the matter of Nate, Nate and Brandon both went in the portal and came back. That's not typically how it goes, right? A guy goes into a portal and that's sort of it. How did you come to decide to sort of bring those guys back after they've gone?
Yeah, great question. And that's not going to happen all the time. And sometimes you don't like to set that precedence. But I think you got to treat everybody individually. I think both of them felt like they messed up, and the thing about these young men right now, they hear all kinds of different stories, and they think that the grass is greener. But those are 2 young guys that I should say 2 old guys that played a lot of football here. 2 pretty darn good leaders for us. That you have to if they were anybody else, it probably doesn't happen. Matter of fact, there was another guy that wanted to come back. So you hear about the glory stories, but there was another guy that wanted to come back, and that wasn't happening. So didn't give him an opportunity. So it's just everybody's a little bit different, and so those two team guys that when you think about just the attitude that they bring every day, in the meeting rooms, on the field, they're team guys and program guys.
In your first live practices, who are some of the younger players that you've seen like, whoa, that guy's a little different from the last time we saw him?
Okay, first guy I'm going to mention is Kyle Lewis, and I don't know, when you say young, like he's still young. Last spring, if you recall, he was playing basketball in February and hurt his knee, so he didn't go to spring ball. So this is his first spring, but he is flying around. He's physical. He's active. I like what I see out of him. Biles is another guy. Rasheen goes by Sheen. Maybe we got to get him in here one day. Sheen he's an athlete. He got a sack off the edge on 3rd down today. That he was about this far off the ground, crawled and sacked the quarterback. It was like, it's hard to do. It's hard to bend like he did around that corner. I don't know who the right tackle was, but you'll see that on videotape. But he's shown that his motor is just keeps getting better. I'm trying to think up front, still a work in progress, but Dayon has shown flashes. Just looking for consistency all the time. In the back end, really, happy with obviously Donovan and Javon and PJ O'Brien. Those 3 guys are solid, but tell you the 2 other young guys, since you asked defensively, it would be Cruz Brookins, who's doing a heck of a job. He's going to be a great football player for us. And then the other even younger guy that has shown some maturity here in the last 4 months is Jesse Anderson. Jesse's had a good spring after 4. So that safety position is pretty deep right now, which is good. It's some quality players there, and I would imagine one of those guys is going to be out there when we get into our nickel package on 3rd down. That could really help us because they're pretty smart as well. Corners, Tamarian Crumpley and Gandy still, are progressing there. On offense, Mumfield had, he's not a young guy, he had a heck of a day today. Other young guys at receiver. Not many here. There's Mumfield just walks in looking pretty. But young receivers, still working there. I guess a young guy, you think about freshmen coming in, is Joel's golf is shows he's got a different gear. He's got some of that Izzy Amandicana speed, I think. We'll see more. Still haven't seen enough to say he's Izzy yet, but he's shown some really good things. The offensive line, Isaiah Montgomery's really playing well at right tackle and left tackle, playing a little bit of both. He played in guard as well. But him and Terrancinos are stepping up. Looking at that sixth man, seventh man, who's it going to be? Happy with him. And the quarterbacks are a work in progress. But I tell you what, Nate Yarnell, I had the best day of spring today. He just seems to continue to get a little bit more comfortable every day. I was impressed with Nate today. Again, I hate to sometimes make comments, but you asked a good question and gave you a lot of names there. But you might watch the tape and I may say he's stuck too. So I'll reserve judgment for later on. But that's my post-practice evaluation. But the tape sometimes you feel good and you walk in there and go, oh my God, we're awful. We got to fix this, fix that. But it was a good day, all three phases.
Is Brandon taking a claim to that Mike linebacker spot?
Brandon George? Yeah, Brandon George is he's our starting Mike right now. But we're gonna play some guys in there. You're gonna play six linebackers, a lot. And I tell you, we got Lovelace is in there right now. Brandon Lovelace is looking good at Mike linebacker. He had a play today. That was probably didn't mention Lovelace. Did I mention 8 linebackers? Yeah, I mentioned his other 2. Brandon Lovelace had a blitz and then he redirected to his right and made a tackle. I was like, holy cow! He looked like, matter of fact, Sebastian Dennis was out there. It looked like a little Sebastian Dennis move there today. Just changing directions, getting flat, and making plays. So Brandon's another young guy that I think continues to get better.
Who along the defensive line, particularly at the interior, has been looking good to you in spring?
It's up and down, and we're not giving those guys a ton of reps in a row. But interiorly, I'd say, Fitzsimmons is doing a nice job in there. I'd say Nakai Johnson is learning how to play inside. We got to keep his shoulders square a little bit and get that downhand to make some contact a little bit better. But he's a defensive end going into his 4th practice. If you guys recall, if you go to the last 6 plays of Duke, he played inside and played well. But he's been in there. Nick James, I don't know if he finished practice today, but he had a little ankle at the end. But he's shown some promise in there. Keep getting him better. Giving all these names without a depth chart sitting in front of me, so I'll probably forget people. So I'm trying to think of who else inside. If you name a name, I'll give you one, but I don't have one in front of me. EJ didn't give it to me, but that's probably good enough right there.
What's changed about what led to the change for Nakai in the switching position?
It's interesting. You think maybe we should have been smarter as coaches to maybe make the move, but some guys can just there's more thinking at defensive end than there is at D tackle, I just think he was one of those guys that plays a little bit slower. I mean, he just thinks too much. Sometimes you figure time will take the thinking out of it for him. It just didn't happen. We put him in that. I think we started working him inside maybe the last 2 weeks of the season. We put him in there. It was like, holy cow, he found a home. He's about 275 pounds right now. He's twitchy. So he's not like Devin and David and those guys last year who were big, physical inside guys. But he's twitchy, and he gives you a little bit different gear in there. But we just got to teach him how to play with a little bit more leverage and use his hands a little bit better. But I think it was just a matter of taking the thinking out of it and letting him play, just be physical. I didn't think size-wise he could do it, but he's 275 now, maybe 280, and he probably weighed 260 back in the Duke game. And if you put those 6 plays on, you're going, holy cow! Why didn't we make this move earlier?
Pat, I know you worked with Tim Doust in the past, and then we've seen some rather spirited practices he's led with his position group. What do you like about the way he coaches and just the energy he brings to that group?
Yeah, Tim's a hell of a coach. I probably didn't get to talk much about him in any pressure, but started working with him at Northern Illinois and Cincinnati, and he's an outstanding coach. You know, I've interviewed him before, and he's a good friend of mine as well. So he's been a friend for a long time. But I don't hire friends. I hire, the best people for the job. And, this is the first time we had an opportunity to hire him or interview him as a D-line coach. He was an excellent special teams coach at ECU. I think they had the second most respected special teams group in the country last year down there. So I didn't want to interview him because it was kind of a tight end / special teams job. But he texted me and said, hey, we run pretty good special teams down here. I was like, shit, I got to interview him now. But I was like, God, it's going to be hard at that tight end spot. So I interviewed him. It's always hard to turn down a guy when you love him as people, and I know he's a great coach. But it's got to be the right fit at the right time, and it was the right fit at the right time. And again, he's a great teacher.
Pat, how have you seen Konate grow from the transfer guy that came in a couple years ago and grown into the leader of the receivers this year?
He's certainly the leader of the receiver group without a question. I mean, he's more vocal. I mean, what you see is the guy came in, quiet, just doing his job, and now he's a little bit more vocal, and still does his job. And the thing about Konate, he's the same person every day. You don't get a different Konate. You're not getting this, these highs and lows. You talk about consistency. Konate's, he's really consistent. And, we've got him playing, on the outside right now. We play so much press corners, and you think about, people around. He plays inside and out, but we've been able to put him a little bit more outside, so we're able to use his speed against corners and all that press coverage. So if he can win at the line of scrimmage, he's going to make some plays. He had 2 big-time catches today in practice on deep balls, and he's been begging for deep balls. So now we're giving him the opportunity to be out there where you get an opportunity to have more deep balls, thrown to you when you're playing with the number 1 receiver on your side.
Are there still growing pains with the new offense?
You know what? I think it's a great question for Konate, but I think there's growing pains anytime you're on the field, and there's growing pains, even with the defense in year number 10, there's always growing pains, but I don't see as many growing pains right now with our offense as I saw last year in spring ball or fall camp. I think our offense staff's doing a heck of a job coaching. I think the players are buying into the scheme, and I think they're having fun out there and they're making plays. I mean, there's a lot more production on the field, that I see. I see getting the ball in playmakers' hands, giving them an opportunity to make plays in space, and spreading out a little bit. So I think I don't see the growing pains that you maybe think we'd have after 4 games, Jerry.
How about a couple more before we get to our player reps? Anything else?
Pat, any thoughts on Kenny moving from the Steelers to the Eagles?
Hey, it's business, right? Business for everybody. Business for the Steelers and business for Kenny, and it's business as usual. I usually don't pay attention to all the stuff going on. It seems like is there a lot more turnover in free agency this year? Is it a bigger year for agency than normal? It just, again, I don't follow it. I saw my man Dane's going to the Panthers. I think, Vontae's out of, there's a lot of things moving around, throughout the country, and I think Vontae may be going to the Saints. Is there any truth to that?
I think so. I haven't seen him sign yet, but I heard there was a print there.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all kinds of probably missing somebody, but and then you got Aaron Donald, the legend, Hall of Famer. In 29, I guess will be his year there, but it's part of business. I mean, that's why they call it free agency. I'm happy for Kenny. I'm happy for the Steelers. I think things happen for a reason, and the first thing I think about Kenny is just being back home. I'm sure his dad can drive 2 hours. Mom and dad can drive 2 hours across the state of New Jersey and get to a Philly game. So part of business. It's the NFL.
You get a chance to talk to him?
It's like the NFL transfer portal. Right? Yeah, I did talk to Kenny. Yeah, he's doing great.
With Aaron Donald retiring, do you think we may see him more around here?
You know what? I'd love seeing him in practice last week. I don't know if you saw him at video practice. He was there. Him and his wife and kids were there at the practice last Friday before spring break. But no doubt about it, hopefully he can come in and coach our guys up a little bit too. We'll take him. I'm sure he's got plans. But I'm sure we'll see him around here lifting weights like he normally does. And he's here all the time. Anyway, this time of year, but we'll see him hopefully in the fall more. Hopefully we get him for honorary captain next year. We haven't been able to get him yet.
Coach, thank you very much.